couple of points I would like to acknowledge before I just have a 2 slide presentation. So before I get into that, couple of points I would definitely like to acknowledge that yes, we are definitely not having the expertise, I would say, to understand the MSMEs. It is definitely a learning curve that we are going through. And as Jiten Bhai also rightly mentioned, that that's something which we are aspiring to do so, because given the opportunity which rests in this segment and the zealousness which this segment works, I think it's an app segment where there is an opportunity to build big and grow big along with this segment. Because in time to come, it is this segment which is going to really build the foundation and take the nation ahead also. A couple of things before I just put on presentation. Yes, there are two ways that as an institution that we look at funding any customer, be it an MSME or a corporate. One is of course the debt side, which everyone has been talking about. The second is in terms of an equity support. As an NBFC or as an institution, this is also one of the support that we have been actively engaged in with our customers. Primarily so because debt is definitely one of the solutions which everyone has been used to, but equity as a solution is something which goes a long way in trying to work together with the corporate or the MSME segment customer, or even for that matter, help them building up a larger institution in time to come. So both are these avenues which are available to a customer as an MSME from Tata Capital, and we evaluate them in different ways. Equity, of course, has a large play in terms of the evaluation because of the pure nature of the structure that we are offering. But from a debt perspective, I think there is a lot of simplicity that we have tried to bring in over the years. There's a lot of learning that we have been able to do it. And I'm sure most of you would have heard of a lot of fintech companies which have come into play over the last couple of years, or maybe even prior to that. And as Jiten Bhai rightly mentioned, there are plenty of them, and we have no qualms in saying that yes, we are a part of the learning curve, wherein we are trying to build in a lot of institutionalize a lot of processes and systems which are more technology based, which will help us and simplify a lot of processes. The whole part is that how do we make things simple for a customer to ensure that they get the loan in a fast and quick time and at the right time. So I'll just have a couple of slides that I'll put up. So just let me know once they are up. I think that's disabled. Okay.
Let me.
Nevertheless, what I'll do is I'll just take you through a couple of points about what Tata Cap. Hello.
Yes, I have enabled it now.
You enabled. Yeah. Thank you.
Can you do it now? Share screen, I've just enabled.
Is that visible?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. So, couple of points. The way we look at an MSCV funding is basically on 2 points. Of course, as a non-banking finance company, we don't have the entire product suite the way Mr. Rampal mentioned. That's something that we are not offering, and that's something which the banks have been doing extremely well over the last so many years, be it SBI or HDFC, and that's something I think needs to be acknowledged. But what's within our capability in terms of offering for our customers, particularly the MSCs, it's the working capital and the capex. Be it the sales invoice discounting, which is taking care of your post sales funding, which are basically unsecured limits. Purchase order funding, which is a pre-shipment funding, which is also an unsecured limit. So what emphasis that we are trying to draw over here is what exactly Mr. Sharma mentioned, that yes, while we acknowledge that collateral is a must and is a requirement, but for limits which are in the range of like a 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs, or maybe even up to a crore, we are not averse to looking at a unsecured or a non-collateral based kind of funding. We are more than happy to look at something which is a cash flow based, or something which has got a lot of backup in terms of the sales and purchases of a customer. We offer pre-approved loans to our customers, which are short-term loans of 1 to 3 years, which help them take care of short-term gaps which may be arising because of some of the capexes, etc., that they may have incurred. We offer channel finance. Now, this is a very unique product which Jitu Bhai, you just mentioned, that in terms of how do we can go to the tier one and the tier two, beyond the tier one customers. Happy to state that we have already launched this product. This is something that is already there. we have close to, I would say, about 75 or 80 of them whom we have already started getting into the ecosystem, was the other word which Mr. Sharma rightly mentioned, wherein we are getting more granular as we speak, going down the line in terms of tier 2, tier 3 locations and tier 2, tier 3 customers who require limits of as low as maybe a 10 lakh, 15 lakhs on a, or maybe a 30-day or a 60-day kind of a rotational basis. This is a very unique product which we have been able to build up over a period of time since our inception in 2007. The next product is in terms of an equipment finance or a leasing. Now, leasing is a product which is a prerogative of largely the NBFC institutions, which is basically taking care of your capex requirement. So this would be more suitable for MSME customers who have a small manufacturing setup, are looking at maybe a 10, 15 lakh kind of equipment, which is basically like a CNC machine or maybe a bending machine, a cutting machine. And rather than taking a collateral, we take a hypothecation of the asset. There is no additional collateral which is taken. And this facility can be again in the form of a loan or a lease, in any form which is suitable and as required by the customer. So most of the product lines, if you look at it or glance over it here, they are more suitable from a perspective of looking at a short-term working capital facility, which are all basis of the assessment of the customer, or maybe even setting up a capex limit, which is required for their expansions or for whatever is required for their setting up a new line for manufacturing, whatever the case could be. So there is a suite of product which is available to the MSME customers, which will take care of both the working capital and the uh, capex requirements. Now, how do we go about executing this? Now, I'll just set a preface about before I get to the next and the last slide that I have here. As was rightly mentioned, there is always a challenge in terms of access of data. There is a challenge in terms of access to the financials, the balance sheets, be it the provisionals or the audited. There is always some doubts which are cast around in terms of whether they hold good, they are truly casted or not. So there are a couple of things that we have done at Tata Capital over the past 3 years. It's been something which has been a arduous journey for us too, but we have learned and built up a system which is very unique in a way. So basis of this data, which is surrogate in terms of the, which is not financial based, but which is based on surrogate information and cash flow based, we are able to sanction loans to the customer through a digital platform that we have internally developed for us, which is more of a scorecard based assessment. It is not a financial based assessment scorecard. So we don't look at the debt equity, or we don't look at the EBITDA margins or the profitability, the sales to over, so on and so forth. Many a times this scorecard is also a sectoral based. Since we are talking about the steel industry here, let me tell you that we have very large finance programs running with JSW, with Tata Steel, with SAIL, RNL, which takes care of the both the purchases which all these organizations take, as well as the dealer distribution network of all these institutions. So with the help of this, we have been able to have some kind of a knowledge bank internally developed in terms of the performance, the dynamics, the cash flow cycles, which we have put it to use so that we can replicate it and give it to the customers in the MSME segment who look at loans maybe a 40 lakh, 50 lakhs to a crore kind of a working capital facility. What this does it that it enables that everything is in terms of a faster track, the data availability being minimized, and everything is sourced through online platforms and algorithms. There is not much of a requirement which comes from the customer. And these are generally small ticket loans wherein we are looking at a larger volume based. So this is what has helped us to build this over a period of time. So as I was saying, these are
Narendra,
all
Narendra, sorry, can I just add one or two more important things on this?
certainly, Sumant, certainly.
Yeah. So for everybody's benefit, when Narendra is saying that there is algorithm and data-based solutions, my request to all of you is that what are we saying? It is not कोई rocket science नहीं है. Algorithm सुन के सब लोग थोड़ा सा हिचकिचा जाते हैं. What we are saying is आपका जो purchase का data है, आपका जो sales का data है, अगर आप हमें access देंगे आपके GST साइट का, अगर आप हमारे को आपके ITR का access देंगे, जो सिर्फ क्लिक ऑफ बटन पे आप दे सकते हैं अभी, अगर आप वो टाटा कैपिटल को दें या HDFC बैंक को दें या स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया को दें, तो डेटा फ्लो स्ट्रेट हमारे सिस्टम्स में आता है और उस सिस्टम्स के बेसिस पे हम आपको ये कैश फ्लो बेस्ड फंडिंग जो नरेंद्र जी ने बताया विद इन अ टाइम फ्रेम ऑफ 1 day 2 day 3 day करके दे सकते हैं ऑन अनसिक्योर्ड बेसिस, बिकॉज एंड ऑफ द डे व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, एक जैसे पुराने जमानों में जो हमारे बही खाते होते थे, उसमें मुनीम जी बही खाते में प्लस माइनस करके बोलते थे चल भाई इतना ले जा पैसा और इतना पैसा देना, यही एल्गोरिथम वही बही खाता है that we have got created on a digital platform, that your collections, your payments, your credit cycles are monitored on the algorithm, and we are able to kind of provide that. The second thing that I want to add on this one is जो नरेंद्र जी ने बताया सारी चीजों को लेके, एक और प्रोडक्ट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया सपोर्ट करती है जिसे कहते हैं CGT MSC, क्रेडिट गारंटी स्कीम फॉर MSMEs, जहां पर अप टू 2 crores of funding you can take, where government guarantees for MSMEs to bankers, and that scheme can be used by the small MSMEs to go out and take that from their banks, depending on which bank that you deal with. So up to 2, you can use that money for working capital, you can use that money for your term loan also. So जैसे नरेंद्र जी ने बताया, अगर आपको कैपेक्स कर रहे हैं तो आप वो CGT MSC लेके कर सकते हैं, अगर आपको वर्किंग कैपिटल करना है तो वो भी कर सकते हैं, और बैंकर्स उसके अंदर बहुत क्विकली सपोर्ट करते हैं बिकॉज गारंटी गवर्नमेंट दे रही होती है. ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज एन अप्रेजल प्रोसेस, एंड अप्रेजल प्रोसेस गेट्स शॉर्टेंड, बट आपका कोलैटरल का इशू सॉर्ट आउट हो जाता है, वहां एक छोटा सा गारंटी कमीशन देना पड़ता है, बाकी और कुछ नहीं देना होता है. So these are the two things which I thought it was important. Narendra, sorry I barged in like this.
No problem. Mandit, thanks for pitching in. That's absolutely the point which I was making, that when we're talking about data sources, it is basically your GST sources or your sales purchase numbers, which are very easily available, and maybe you can download it from your Tally or whichever are the you are using. And there is no fixed formula ki ये format इसी में देना रहता है. You put it into a simple Excel and send it to us. We manage the whole thing. You send us a PDF of the bank statement and we manage the whole thing. Everything is done basis of the technology that we have built. Second most important point is in terms of less or no dependence on collateral or the financials. That's a very critical thing, because that's something that we have realized over a period of time, that institutions or the MSMEs which have built this brick by brick, it is difficult for them to have assets which are available or easily on offer for financials. What all this does is, of course, the TAT, which is quick and fast processing, which is possible. One of the distinctions that we have and which we pride in vis-a-vis maybe some of the other tech companies, etc., is that यहाँ पे जो है TCFL does right the sourcing, appraisal, disbursals, and servicing of the customers end to end. So it is not like that we source the customer and give it to somebody else, or we expect somebody to source the customer to us and then we appraise and disburse. Right from sourcing to disbursal is something which we own the process, and we help and manage the customers get it done. The incremental point that we have done it over here in the last pandemic, I would say that was a blessing in disguise in the last financial year that we were able to do it, is even the documentation jo rehta hai, we have done it on a e-sign mode. So end to end documentation, even jo customer के लोन एग्रीमेंट साइन करने रहते हैं, सैंक्शन लेटर एक्सेप्टेंस रहता है, KYC का रहता है, एवरीथिंग इज डन ऑन अ ई मोड. तो इसके लिए भी जरूर नहीं रहता कि अगर ऑफिस चालू है नहीं है, कोई बंदा पहुंच पा रहा है नहीं पहुंच पा रहा है, एवरीथिंग इज पॉसिबल टू बी डन ऑन एन ई मोड, which only eases and simplifies the process, and geographically it ensures that we are able to cater to any customer or anywhere on a pan India basis, whichever far away town or city that they may be based out of. As I mentioned earlier, we have a significant presence in the steel industry thanks to our exposures which are there in JSW, Tata Steel, SAIL, etc. So this is one segment that we have a fair handle on, and would be very, very happy to explore and understand and learn from each one of you what are your requirements, so that we can try and build a product which is more suitable and apt for your requirement. Because what we definitely believe is that there can't be no a quick fix or a standard solution across the board for all our customers. It has to be slightly modified and more suited to you. We are happy to do that. We are flexible in doing that. So that's about it from my side. As was mentioned by Mr. Sumant as well as Mr. Sharma, would be happy to learn and take questions from you. These are some of the contact points. I'm sure Mr. Jitendra would be happy to share our coordinates if at all there's anything that any one of you need to connect us for any requirements. But I'll leave it to you now, Mr. Jitendra, that if you can take the discussion side. Thank you so much for having us here today. Thanks for the opportunity. And I look forward to hearing more from the participants today. Thank you so much. Take care. Stay safe.